Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Funk. Thinking right out here in my lab where I do what I do for you. And I'm in the book. We rolling right now. We dealing with this thing because it's all mental. Mental health, okay, is a must. Why? Mental illness, mental health is knowing thyself. Mental illness is being ignorant of thyself, aka not knowing thyself. Let's talk about it. Should be a good lesson. I got some good stuff here. Good mission. All right, let's rock. Rightisms, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline. Practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself or self mastery. My mission, and I'm on it, is to and all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? So let's get it together. I asked the question, do you know you? You will when I get through. That's what I do for you. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have the answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself and to my God be true. All right. This title, Right Thinkers, P Funk Philosophy, Mental Health. How strong is your thought process? Right thinking is mental health. Wrong thinking is mental illness. Let's talk about it. This again, my philosophy, the chapter is mental health. I'm just putting my little spin on it, giving my concept. You know how I do. All right, let's go. But since your spirit is your true essence, and that's who we are. God is spirit. So spiritual enlightenment means you get enlightened to the spirit of you, which is God. That's spiritual enlightenment. When your spirit is your true essence, our conditioning of existence, our conditioning of existence with a physical form, aka the body, may be seen as an aberration from what? From the original essence. What's the original essence? The original essence is a state, listen, of infinite expansion in consciousness, immortality, indestructibility. These are all attributes of your spirit, which is the soul that's what's inside your physical body. You are not the body, you are internal parts of the body, which is your spirit. And from this perspective, hopefully you're understanding what the words are coming out of my mouth. It is easy to understand that the mind may develop mental complexes, meaning blocks due to what? Ignorance. So you're going to create something. I got a problem. I know people who, if they don't know something, they figure it out. No! I got another one say, just make it up. No! If you don't know something, you go to somebody who do know and you listen to them. That's called learning. That's enlightening. Why? To something you didn't already know. You just can't pop up information, knowledge that you don't have. You got to seek it. That's why they got books. That's why we got scripture. That's why we got teachers. But when you have your own mental block, it's you. And that's when you confront it with your limited human experience, the ego self. Ding, 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 ding. This is why the ancients is big on the concept of the ego, not the devil. Therefore, our coming to earth in itself should be understood, and it is by who? Sages. Sages, to be the source of that primary and fundamental state of illness. Ignorance is the state of illness. Ignorance is the state of illness. And because of your state of ignorance, you cause your mental illness. That's called dis-ease, is when the mental complexes are confused and blocked, and this vary as a number of individuals suffer from it. A lot of us. However, all of these originate in your attachment of what? One's soul to what? The physical illusion, the ego, right there. When you think and believe that you are the body, death is imminent for you. Okay? Why? You scared to death that the body gonna end and things you like to do will come to a halt. That's called death. No, that's an illusion. Again. But reality is what? When you culminating with the ultimate mental complex, meaning right thinking, and now your identification with your physical body form or physical illusions of reality, culminating with what? Your ultimate, I just read that, but the identification with the physical form, aka your body, the spirit, watch this, your spirit, like a star, forgets it's spiritual and begins to believe what? That it's a physical human person, mortal body. I'm just a bell. I'm just a human. I just get one shot at life and then it's going to be over. That's ignorant thinking, and that's the physical body concept. In finding out what? That as a human personality, we are spiritual beings having this human experience. Once you find out you human personality, it cannot have its way. That's what death is to the physical body who think, well, I can't do things. When he couldn't have his way no more, he didn't want to live. He couldn't live without it, so he didn't feel the need to do. That's ego. That's all ego, and that's what should die. It's going to die physically when the physical body die anyway. So, good riddance. But when you're failing, it cannot have its way. That's the ego. Or in falling prey, your spirit, to the idea that someone is what? Hurting it. Other people is controlling it. And it may even what? In its own defense, kill. The mental complex of ignorance will intensify, but due to its misunderstanding of what it perceives, aka pain, bondage, and death, murder, death, kill, that's what the ego perceives life, because that's the human part. That's pretty much part, right? But if you're not that, it don't bother you. But if you thinking, that's what scares you to death. And what happened? And now it is intrinsically know deep down what your real essence is: freedom, completeness, immortality. That's when you know thyself. That's the purpose for what? Getting conscious of who you are. And the disease, watch this. Disease is the conflict that arises. The conflict is exasperated because of our ignorance and our inability to accept life as it is unfolding. Why? Due to our own ignorance. Again, if you can't deal with reality the way it is, you're going to have problems. If you don't understand facts of life, you're going to have problems. And that's all due to what? Ignorance of self. And you're ignorant about your true essence, aka self. Thy is God. Self is you. You need to know your God self, aka thyself. But we do not understand that all our life situations, watch this, that we encounter during our physical lifetime are only products of our own desires that's produced by our own, produced in order to provide us with some specific experience. All of us like to have pleasure. The strongest urge to human being is that sexual energy, that desire to procreate or just explicit. Man has two reasons for sexual energy: to procreate or just have pleasure. Once we figured out we can do it for pleasure and do it all the time, that's the fall of man, conceptually. But you're here in this world to have a specific experience so that now we can spiritually evolve, spiritually and mentally evolve. So therefore, we end up, because of ignorance, fighting against life. Yeah, swimming upstream, I call it, like the salmon. You struggling. Life shouldn't be a struggle. Life shouldn't be a struggle. But for all ignorant people, they make it that way. And you developing feelings of what? Regret, instead of having understanding of oneself, that now you can come here of free will. You're here by free will. And now you are able, because you're made in the image of God, you created a situation in which we find ourselves, and every individual have that same opportunity, and that's what we're all doing. Thus, instead of employing our energy to the task of what? Here we go. Self-improvement. Better ourselves mentally, not physically, or gaining what we call mental power. How? By supplementing the egoistic desires, flesh. I practiced semen retention years ago, and the best thing I could ever have done. And I didn't go to a ministry. I didn't go to no monk. No, I stayed right here. Told wifey, we ain't doing nothing. I deal with that, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. When you do this for yourself, it's personal. It's personal. And the person you with don't understand that, that's on them. But yeah, I did that. I achieved that. And it ain't easy, but it's so rewarding. So when you get past your physical desires, now when you're not, the ego desires will dissipate it, and wasted and useless endeavors, doing a bunch of stuff that don't really take you nowhere, get nothing done, which cannot provide fulfillment. You're doing a bunch of stuff, but you ain't really happy. Chasing this, chasing that, gotta get this, trying to have that, and ain't none of it focused on you. Knowing everything except yourself. So that's what we try to explain to you. That's mental health, knowing you. The stronger the attachment to one's ego self, Scooby-Doo, rut-roll, yeah, the larger and the longer the conflict. Haru and Set, the internal fight, went on for 80 years. Okay, conceptually. So that means the more ignorant you are, the longer you're going to fight, and the more you're going to have conflict, and the more you're going to reincarnate until you figure it out. And you will be, consequently, the larger the disappointment. So the more ignorant you are, the more egoistic you are, the larger the disappointment you're going to suffer. And it will be the more profound and more severe of all illnesses. Okay? Death, no, cancer, you create that. And watch this. But the cure for this condition is for you to develop your wisdom by practicing spiritual disciplines, which will inevitably lead to you detaching from that which is unreal, meaning the physical stuff, the sexual pleasures, the desires of the flesh, the money, materialistic stuff, they will all dissipate. And because now your attachment is to that which is what? Real. You're thinking right. That's right thinking. Knowing real from unreal. That's Anubis. That's your discernment to know difference. My spiritual discernment is up here. I'm going for no spiritual nonsense. I see a lot of it going on, but I know better, so I don't have a problem with it. Why? I ain't falling for that nonsense. All these mega preachers getting rich, talking that nonsense. I know that. The ones in the stands or the ones who listen, y'all need to know that. Why? He ain't get nothing from me. He's still rich. Moving on. But so in order to sustain your ignorant illusion of physical existence and all of your mental and physical activities related to it, now your spirit sends the energy to the physical form in order to sustain it. So that's spirit does its job. It gives life. That's all it's supposed to do. But you, the thinker, the doer, you got to control, manipulate the spirit. Why? Energy comes in various forms. Mental, subtle, and physical. The three planes of consciousness. But the proper flow of the serpent, we call it the energy, serpent power. That's the energy, the chakras. Promotes what? Good health. Mental growth, spiritual growth leads to good health, and the improper flow of this energy would lead to mental illness. So therefore, the mental and physical health of every individual is required for the proper process, the flow of the energy. That's why the Kundalini serpent won't rise if you ain't living right. That's why those who live right, it'll happen unbeknownst to them. But those who claim and it ain't done nothing. Okay, it ain't rising nowhere. Why? You still the same person. Kundalini will start changing you. At every chakra it hit, it signified we got that, move on. Master this level, move on. It's 7 levels, 7 layers. Everything is 7. When you master the 7 concepts of your consciousness, 7 layers of your spirit, whatever you want to call it, 7 levels of chakras, whatever. But that's self-mastery. However you get there, get there. Me and my pastor both know God, but we got there by different routes. Don't make a difference. Moving on. So you can get to God many different ways, but the idea is for you to get there. So your desires, disease, here we go. Dis-ease, this is perfect. Wrapping it up. Disease is therefore an imbalance of what? The serpent flow of energy in your body, which are all controlled by this thing right here, and which what? Emanate from what? Your soul. Okay? Healing is accomplished by your rebalancing and your signal of your energies and your vibration of what? Your mind and your body. So thereby fulfilling the needs of one's soul, aka the spirit that's within. This may be accomplished. Pay attention. You can accomplish this through changing of one's what? Lifestyle. I can verify that. From what? You'll change your lifestyle and your mental attitude, the way you think. I used to think wrong. Now I think right, with a more positive understanding of what it is I should be doing and why I'm doing it, and it's paying off like gangbusters. So specifically, when you administration herbs whose ingredients have balancing qualities, which with respect to the particular ailment, he gave us plants to heal, plants to smoke and get trees, all that. We got all that nature. Man wants you to use his. Now he done took over marijuana growing, so now it's legal because he can work. Profit off it. Moving on. Again, that's all man-made, but we try to tell you all particular elements affecting a harmonious vibration, and this will cause a harmonious effect within your energy flow of the body. Psychotherapy, meaning wisdom from what? Learning and practicing spiritual discipline, or right thing philosophy we call yoga. Your spiritual counseling to promote understanding of what we know to be reality as it truly is, to reduce what? The conflict of ignorance in one's mind with daily meditation. There we go. Woo! Daily meditation, to be able to quiet and focus one's mind on whatever it is he wants. And if it's clarity, free your mind and your ass will follow. George told us that 50 years ago. That's the purpose of doing it. Let your conscious be your God. What? Your higher conscious. Well, you're going to higher conscious. You don't know how to meditate, obviously. That's how you commune with your higher self. And you allow what they call the direct flow of energy from what? Your soul. And due to most people's misunderstanding of reality, what happened? They believe that they are their ego personality instead of their spiritual beings having a human experience. Hello? This is where I got the concept from. I'm trying to explain it to you. They breaking it down perfect. Your human experience is here. This is a lesson that you need to learn from the spirit. The soul has to learn that. It ain't in control of that. Why? The mind is yours. The thing he gave us right here, everybody's uniquely got their own. And they work all the same way. All you got to do is master it. But the identification is one's ego causes you to what? Live in fear. False evidence appearing real. That's what we call the mental block. You should not fear nothing you don't know about or to control. But it's a mental block of what? The future. You can't get past it now because you're scared because the mental block of egoism and ignorance. So you need a spiritual counselor, and that should attempt to help you, the individual, to what? Reconcile his or her perception of what we call absolute reality and relative reality, knowing the difference between the two, thereby removing the mental blockage, aka ignorance, which had accumulated for incarnations due to the misunderstanding of reality of its true self. Healing techniques should be used in an integral and a balanced fashion depending on one's needs, the needs of every individual. You should know what you need to heal you. That's the difference. In much the same way as an ordinary household appliance, what transfers energy into useful function. Your body acts as a transducer of cosmic energy, life. But the main focus is sexual energy. It wants to release the pleasures of the physical body. It wants to procreate. That's a normal concept. You have to gain control. That's the ego. The ego just want to do. It want to do. It doesn't matter. It'll do anybody. Okay, male or female. It don't care. That's the ego. It has no preference, okay, of who it want to do with. But your soul acts as a coalesce, conglomerate of elements into a form of what we call the physical body. Without the spirit, the body means nothing. In doing so, the infinite cosmic energy we call Ra, the spark, the fire, is transformed through the resistance of what? The coalesced matter, the physical body. Without Ra, the body is nothing. Okay? And as just like a household electrical appliance, which is also works through what? The principle of what? Resistance. If there was no resistance, energy would flow freely with too much current and burn out the system. A household appliance is like the human body. So therefore, your mind and your body must gradually be trained and made accustomed to a greater and greater levels of consciousness to use the energy. But how? By increasing the level of consciousness and reducing the level of ignorance, aka resistance, in what we call a balanced fashion. This may be accomplished, this is the coup de grace right here, I'm bringing it home, through repeated daily exercise and one's control of what? Your sexual energy. I said daily. It didn't say every now and then. It said daily. I did it for over a year. Okay? Day in, day out. Just like, yeah, and it ain't easy. Some people give, some people, man, whatever perspective, whatever excuse you use to not do what you think you want to do, that's called giving up. That's called losing. Winners don't give up. If you set out the path, you go on that journey. This journey of life is to know thyself. If you fall short, you're just going to come back. That's the concept. Let me wrap it up for you right quick. But when you control your sexual energy, I asked the question, what tree bears fruit 12 times a year? One time a month. Your cerebral spinal fluid, that charisma, that Christ, that oil that goes up. And if you don't waste it, you purify. It turns into what? Extended life. So I got my extended life package already in my pocket. But it's increasing one's purity, first of all, of the mind with right thinking. And through the daily practice of righteous and virtuous living, you're purifying your body through what? Pure nutritional, a good healthy diet, and daily exercise. I fit the bill and I'm doing just fine. Doing just that. I'm just letting you know that's how it's done. Why? I'm doing it. So I wouldn't tell you to do something that I don't do. I wouldn't say you something that I don't do. That's old school philosophy, and I'm sticking to it. Why? It works for me. It can work for you. Try it. I got to go, but right thinkers, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 minus a day. So I've never known my right thinkers who understand now mental health for themselves has passed away. Mental health is right thinking. Mental illness is wrong thinking. Be a right thinker. I'll be right back.